Okay, hi everyone. I hope you can see a wonderful video of me. That's a live picture. That's me sitting in my office. Well, I will turn off the video so you don't get disturbed. Today we are going to talk about Apex on mobile devices, and before we do some slides and stuff, I want to show you the real thing. I hope everyone can see that thing over here. That's an iPhone simulator, so it's basically works exactly like the original iPhone. Our topic today is Apex on mobile devices, so that's not only iPhone or Android, it's also BlackBerry and Symbian and what else is out there. So yeah, that's it. I'll just walk you through really quick through the demo application. This is standard Apex shown in a mobile browser. So everything you can see here, it's just Apex components. So for example, the menu is an Apex list. On the next page you can see an Apex report. That's classic, obviously. It's not an interactive. And this would be a standard Apex form, region buttons on the top, form fields down below. And as it is on mobile devices, you don't have a hardware keyboard. So whenever you want to enter data, a virtual on-screen keyboard is displayed. And the real good thing, so what you can do to your users is show them the keyboard which matches the input type. So like in this case, the user can enter a phone number and the phone number keyboard is shown. Or over here, this is just a number field, the number keyboard is shown. The same for emails or for URLs. So that's stuff that is possible. Navigation in mobile applications, this is basically the same as you would have in native smartphone applications. I can show you, for example, the settings screen. It works on a similar basis. You have menus, which are lists. You can walk through deeper and deeper, and on the top you will always have some kind of back button. So instead of breadcrumbs, you will use this kind of navigation. Okay, but back to our application. So this is what we want to explore today. And now some slides. Yeah, we already talked about me. My company is sitting in Vienna, Austria. We are also part of a corporation called Wir sind Apex, which basically means we are Apex. It's we try to service every need in Apex. So whether it is specialist know-how or whether you need big project teams, my company and the other company together, we can fulfill your every wish. Okay, enough of advertisement. Going mobile. The thing is, you know Apex. Apex can look very differently depending on your template and on your theme. So it's basically data you display in a web browser. And we want to look this data in a mobile web browser, and we want to, well, leverage the features of mobile browsers like touch gestures, swipe, zoom, pitch, and all that other stuff. Okay, how can we do that? So how can we make any Apex application work on a mobile browser? That's a really big question because it's not just one mobile browser. As I told before, there is not only iPhone, there is Android with a broad range of different hardware stuff. There is Windows Phone, there is Symbian, there is Meebo, and whatever. I did a lot of research when I first tried to develop a mobile application, and at that time I discovered jQuery Mobile, which is basically the framework I was looking for. jQuery Mobile tries to cover the whole range of mobile devices. As you can see, it tries to cover iPhone operating system. This is iPhone, iPod, iPad, Android for smartphones, Android for tablets, BlackBerry, Bada, Windows Phone, and whatnot. What they are trying to do is they created some kind of support matrix. For us, the most interesting part is the native column. So you can see all the different mobile operating systems and their default browser. Grade A in green would be the full support of jQuery Mobile. C in red is, kind of no support. When you remember the mobile application over here, it looks really nice. There is rounded corners and there is gradients in the background and stuff like that. This is for grade A browsers. Grade C browsers would show a plain text list, which is obviously not very nice. Okay, jQuery Mobile is still in development, and what they try to do is take all the mobile stuff from your mind. All you need to do is write plain HTML, or in our case, plain Apex, and jQuery Mobile takes responsibility for all the mobile stuff. It tries to, use the screen as good as possible. It reacts on page orientation changes. So when you switch the iPhone from portrait to landscape, the screen adapts. This is especially useful in cases like this one over here, where there is more text in a row, so you can put it from portrait to landscape to read all the text. When you switch it back, the information on the screen is just reduced to what's possible on this tiny screen over here. And another important topic, jQuery Mobile comes like Apex with some kind of templates and themes. And if this is not enough for your need, you can fully customize the layout. As you can see in the examples over here, there is a broad range of different layouts and background pictures and everything. So you can customize all of that, which makes it really, really powerful. So that was jQuery Mobile, which is the framework we want to use. The Apex development team is currently working on integrating jQuery Mobile into Apex. And you can see the current statement of direction of Apex includes this one line. Development for mobile applications includes themes and HTML templates, which doesn't really say full mobile support in 4.1, or it doesn't say non-support at all. The thing is, jQuery Mobile is still in development, so it cannot be really integrated and shipped with Apex at the moment. So there's the question, sit tight and wait. until Apex includes and integrates jQuery Mobile, because that can take a time. As I just told you, the Apex statement of direction kind of says it includes jQuery Mobile or mobile support at all, but jQuery Mobile release candidate is expected for late summer. So this might be September or October, we don't know for sure. That's not an official statement from Oracle or from jQuery, but my guess is Apex 4.1 might get shipped without jQuery Mobile, but it will get shipped with some kind of preparation support for better mobile. So it's like they enhance the templates. You have the possibility now to create forms without the HTML tables in the background, which is very important for mobile. You can decide how labels and fields are grouped together. There is dynamic lists and lots of enhancements more in Apex 4.1, which really helps us in developing any kind of application, but especially for mobile applications. But we don't want to we don't want to wait. We want to get started. So it doesn't matter if Apex integrates jQuery Mobile with 4.1 or not, or even if you're on Apex, still on Apex 3 or something like that. We do not need to wait. We can start right away to build mobile applications. And that's how it works. First step, we read the jQuery Mobile documentation. This is really, well, good, I would say. It covers the most important points, like it tells you exactly how the HTML code has to look like in order to enable jQuery Mobile to really work on your device. So I read all of that, and it basically tells us what a page should look like. There is the header up there, then we have a big body and a footer. So that's a really easy part. We can easily create a page template with all that information. And in our page template, we integrate, for example, title, which will be the page title displayed in the header bar. The logout button, if this is not a public application, is as usual located in the navigation bar. To put stuff into the footer, I position the region position number 8 down there, and all the other region position placeholders are stored in the same location, and this is basically the body. So in HTML code, it would look like that all together. So you see Apex placeholders mixed with special data role attributes which are used by jQuery Mobile. After doing the page template and setting all the placeholders on the right position as discussed before, we can create a region template, which is really, really easy. All you need for a region template is a title, a place where you want to put the buttons, and the rest of the region. And HTML code for our template is as short as this one. Again, we are using some special data role attributes which jQuery Mobile is looking for. Like for the buttons, we define a horizontal control group, which basically tells jQuery Mobile to put the buttons next to each other and make nice rounded corners on the side. Reports on mobile devices is a little bit more complicated because there is such a small screen. You cannot do a standard report with columns next to each other. In this case, I used a an HTML list which I put into a named rows repo template. So the template basically looks like this. It's a definition of a list, and every record is a list item using link, title, bold text, and plain text as placeholders, which will require our select statement to return exactly these 4 columns: link, title, bold text, and plain text. And they are replaced on the position of the placeholders in the template. So that makes it really easy to query any data and display it in a really nice kind on your small screen. That was the very, very quick basic overview. You will get all the slides for the resources links, and there's basically on my blog a detailed blog posting telling you all the steps you need to create the templates. We don't want to get through that now. What we want to do now is look behind the scenes. When we start with the main screen, the main menu, as I told you, this is basically just a list in Apex. So we can look on page 1, my starting page. And as you can see here, main menu is just a list. It's defined in a shared component as a standard list. And of course there is some kind of jQuery mobile friendly template for that. Again, using data role attributes. If you want to know which data role attributes there are, just look into the jQuery mobile documentation. It will tell you everything you need to know about that. It's over there in Docs and Demos. You can see over here page dialogues. It's a really good description of what you can use. Okay, back to our list. As I told you, pretty easy list definition, and every item is like a link to a page. The important thing is the attribute rel external over here. This one tells jQuery Mobile to treat it like an external link in terms of jQuery Mobile links. If we would not put it in here, jQuery Mobile would try to read the page via Ajax, and instead of really changing the page, it doesn't redirect. It would load the other page to the current page with an Ajax call, and we don't want to do that. So a simple list definition, a simple footer region. This is just to show what different kind of stuff you can put into a footer. The first line will create a standard link. The second one is plain text, and the third one will create a button. As you can see in the simulator, this look like this. The odd thing about jQuery Mobile in footer is it gives you just a really small amount of space. If this isn't enough for you, it just, sorry about that, it just cuts the button or the text or whatever it is there. So you have to be very short and precise in your footer bar, or you require landscape. Then on the next page I want to show you is the customer's overview, which is a report, as I told you. And you can see here in the background That's all that is on this page. It's just a report. The same statement I showed you before, providing the report template with link, title, bold text, and plain text columns. And that's all you're gonna need to do. Create a simple select statement, choose the right template, and it will be displayed nicely on your mobile device. On the form page, which will be the last page I will show you in this demo, you also have standard Apex stuff. You have a fetch process, you have an HTML region containing all the items and the buttons, and on terms of page processing there is the standard automatic process row process, which takes care of updates, deletes, and stuff like that. The thing I showed you before, the nice keyboard changes, that's not possible in standard Apex now. What I had to do there was I had to create a plugin which basically creates a HTML5 input item, because in HTML5 there is some new types of input items like number, telephone, email, and URL. If you provide these types in your HTML code, Apex, and especially the smartphone browser, knows which keyword he should display. So when we take a look over there on the phone field, you will see that's a plugin, HTML5 text plugin, and you can find this plugin like most of the other really good and useful plugins on apexplugin.com. It's right on the top, HTML5 input item. That's easy to install. It's like the regular text item, but it enhances the settings with an input input selector. So you can tell, is it a text, is it URL, is it email? And modern browsers, which are capable of HTML5, can react on that. It's again different from browser to browser, from mobile device to mobile device, but most of the current smartphones, they know what to do with that. Okay, this is basically a quick step through. I don't want to confuse it with too much theory. Again, you can read all that stuff in one of my blog postings. There is all the code you need, there's the page templates and stuff like that, so you can try it at home and try to include it in your application. What I wanted to focus now is Q&A. So just ask me whatever you want to know, and I try to answer as good as possible. So before the Q&A, I'm just showing you contact information. You can download the slides after the webinar. James will put it on the Redgate server. That's my contact information, and this is Redgate contact information. James, do you want to take over?
Hi, Peter. Yeah, thank you. So there's a little bit of contact information there. You can contact me directly on Twitter as well. Please follow me at Redgate for Oracle. We will be doing some other webinars as well, so please visit that section of our website, redgate.com, product/Oracle development /webinars to see the other topics. If you have a topic yourself that you feel would make a good webinar, then also please do get in touch. So as Peter just mentioned, we're going to move on to the Q&A. There has been a few questions already asked within the Q&A or within the questions module. So please just feel free to type some questions in now, and I'll put these to Peter. Okay, so the first question is from Raul. Thank you, Raul. He's just tested the app on an iPhone, but the number keyboard didn't appear automatically. Is that possible?
It depends on which item he tried to use that.
Okay, Raul. So if you could sort of give us a little bit more detail in the questions box, and then I'll put that question again to Peter afterwards. Okay, this is from Christian Rotica. Thank you, Christian. Is the HTML5 input items, do they come with standard input validation?
The text item, yes, this is basically exactly the same. So the text item is basically the same as the standard Apex item, but the number item is not. So the number item does not include the same input type input validation as the default Apex number item. So this is, you have to weigh which is more important to your user in this point. Is it to have the right keyboard, or is it to have the better validations? I'm trying to improve that plugin over time to be able to do the same validations, but yes, it will take some time.
Thanks, Peter. The next question is from Joseph Coves. Is there a way to integrate mobile view and desktop view on the same Apex page?
Well, you can run the jQuery mobile enhanced page on the standard browser, on the desktop browser, which will render similar to the view you have seen on your iPhone device. But you cannot mix it. As you may know, one Apex page can only have one page template. So you have to decide, is it a template which is enhanced for desktop view? This basically will show more information and different layout, or is it a template which is enhanced for mobile view, which is reduced to the max, I would say. So show as much information as possible on a tiny screen.
Thank you. So the next question from Bill Doris. Did you create a separate template for the login page?
No, there's just one page template in my application. This is just the one page template which is shown in my blog posting. That's the same used in all pages in this demo application.
Fantastic. Thanks, Bill, also for the question. Next question from Frederick van der Velde. How do you deal with message handling and validation?
Message handling and validation. While I didn't include a special template for showing the success or failure or error messages, but I hope you can see the iPhone simulator here. If you press the save button, you will see on the top, in the top line, action processed. So it's again standard Apex behavior. This is shown as inline, as an inline message. But you could choose a different layout for that. if as you maybe know, in your page template there is a section where you can define how a message should be displayed on the screen. What is the HTML code that should be used for the message.
Fantastic. The next question is from Dick Droll. Is it possible for me to run this application on my phone, which is Android 1.6? And is there a public URL that I can enter?
Oh yes, there is a public URL which is, I think it's part of the invitation of the webinar. If not, you can simply use mobile.click-apex.at, which will redirect you to the demo application.
Fantastic. Next question is from Jürgen Schuster. Do you use any of the jQuery mobile themes?
Yes, this is the standard theme of jQuery Mobile. That's a theme called, or the theme Swatch called C, like Caesar. jQuery Mobile comes with 5 different layout. Well, it's more one and the same layout in different colors. So what we can do in the page template is simply change to another swatch, which will change the colors in the mobile application. What we need to do for that is go to the page template, go to the div that says data role page, and add an attribute saying data theme, and use E, for example. And once we change that, it should show here. Right. You see the yellow background? That's another theme. The application running in my simulator is not the public one. It's a private demo application I have on my laptop. So don't get confused if you don't see it in the public demo application.
Okay, thanks, Peter. The next one is from Martin D'Souza. How does the mobile app look on a regular browser? There's another part to this, if you just bear with me. And do you need to have 2 different apps, one for mobile and one for desktop? If so, how do you direct the user to the appropriate app?
Okay. You can run the mobile application on any standard browser. I didn't try the old Internet Explorer browsers, but on any current decent browser, it looks similar to what you would see on your mobile device. The thing is, do you really want to use a mobile application in a desktop browser? You know, in the mobile application, you try to display only that information that is needed at this time. In a desktop application, you may have a main part of your page, you may have a sidebar, you may have a top menu, and much more information on one bigger screen. So I think you should, in my opinion, end up having either a separate application or separate pages for mobile and for desktop. So to the second part of your question, how can you tell which browser is it? That's the old web topic. You need to read the user agent and decide upon that which application to show. As you know, you can access the user agent. The user agent is the browser identification string, if you wanted to say it like that. You can read which browser is trying to display your Apex application, And if there is iPad in that, or if there is Android in that, you could switch to the mobile application, and otherwise you switch to the standard application. It's basically a matter of trying to decipher the user agent, and there are several tools for that, and the rest is a page redirect.
Okay. Thanks, Peter, and thanks, Martin. That's a good question. Next question from Liarko Brizzi. The iPad has more space. Have you built templates for that format too?
I did not create a demo application for the iPad, but as you can see in the jQuery mobile application, what you see here is you have two columns. Once you reduce the space, like on a smartphone, like the iPhone or Android phone, the two columns are not next to each other. They're one on top and the other one below that. So maybe that works if yeah, you can see it like this. So the layout can change dependent on how much space is there. But basically most of the time iPad screen is big enough to show standard applications. So you might not using a mobile framework for iPad. It depends on the use case, I would say.
Thank you, Liarko. Next question is from Nandini Thacker. Thank you, Nandini. Is it limited to only particular mobile phones, i.e. the ones that you listed in the presentation?
Well, at this time, yes. I try to go back to that slide. The thing is, jQuery Mobile, the developers of jQuery Mobile, they analyzed the markets and they tried to cover the most important devices. As you can see on this device support matrix of jQuery Mobile, which is included in the documentation as well, they try to cover the most important things. And everything having a green A, which will get the full support. It might not work yet because it is still in beta, but as soon as they hit the first release candidate, they should work with iOS, with Android, Windows Phone, BlackBerry, Symbian, WebOS, Bada, Memo, Migo. Well, yeah. So all we can do is hope for the best, that the jQuery mobile team finds a way to support all of them. And that's it.
Thanks, Peter. The next question from Deepthi Bomara, I hope I've pronounced that correctly, is it's a question on the jQuery theme. Do we have to design the theme from scratch? Is there any easier way to import the themes?
I'm not sure if you're talking about the jQuery theme or the Apex theme. For the time being, you either have to create your own theme or you wait for Apex 4.1 providing you a theme designed for jQuery mobile. Sooner or later, I will make my theme public, but I'm still trying to make it better and better, so it will take some time and 1 or 2 blog postings till I'm finished.
Fantastic, thanks Peter. We'll see. All look forward to the posts with some way of accessing the theme that you've created. So next question from Jeff Lumans. Is the HTML5 item plugin available for public use?
Absolutely, yes. Just go to apex-plugin.com. There you can find lots of plugins, and one of them being the HTML5 input item plugin. Just click on the download link over there, and it's yours to use. It's free, and well, there's no warranty. So if you break something, you have to be careful.
Thanks, Peter. Next question from Brad Ansty. He's been trying to develop some forms, and he's wondering how he can modify the layout of the text fields. The text fields appear to be proportionate to the size of the table data, field stroke cell size. And how can he modify this so that the text field consumes the full space of the table?
I'm not sure I really get this question. What you can change is, if you see this example in the customer form of my demo application, there is the label on the left side of the item. What you could do is put the label above the item. As you can see on the login screen over here, the label is above the item, and this way it can expand the full way, more or less. There will always be a small margin left and right, but this way you can use most of the screen, unless your item is designed to be smaller than the full screen. I hope that answers the question.
Thanks, Peter. And Brady, that doesn't quite answer your question. Please enter a new question into the questions box. The next question is from Roel Hartman. Thanks, Roel. How are errors displayed, for instance, when entering wrong data or violating validations?
Well, to be honest, I didn't care for the time being. The main goal at the moment was to develop a nice looking working mobile application. As I said before regarding the success messages, it's basically the same for the error messages at the moment. They will be displayed according to the template. I'm not sure how that will look for validation errors. I would have to try, but there will be a nice solution, I'm sure.
Thanks, Peter. The next question from Bart Kirkhoffs. He said you can extend the jQuery framework. Can we then use those extensions within the Apex RAD?
Sorry, I have no idea what you're trying to do. Are you trying to use jQuery mobile optimized screens in the application builder, the development environment, or are you asking if you can use jQuery mobile methods and events in your application?
So Bart, if you could please clarify that question, we'll try and get to it at the end. Okay, the next question from Frederick van der Velde. How does partial page refresh work on mobile phones?
Well, it's basically the same as in standard desktop browsers. Partial page refresh is, technical speaking, you change a part of the HTML code in the current site. So that's the same for mobile applications. The big difference between mobile applications and desktop applications is basically the size of the screen and the lacking of a hardware keyboard, plus touch screen capabilities. But the inside of the browser is more or less the same.
Okay, thanks, Peter. There's a number of questions about applications for mobile and for desktop. I hope the answer that Peter gave earlier has clarified those for you, also the slides in the presentation. If there's a specific one about that, not just a more general one about how to make different versions for desktop and mobile, please post this as another question. Okay, so the next question from Frederick van der Velde again is, are there special mobile events for dynamic actions like sliding and tapping, etc.?
Yes, jQuery Mobile provides some special events. As described in the jQuery Mobile documentation under API events, you have events for tapping, for swipe left and right, for orientation changes and stuff like that. So you could write a dynamic action which listens on this event. But it's, of course, it's not built in Apex right now. It will be there someday, but if you need it now, you need to create your own dynamic action which is capable of listening to this event.
Fantastic, thank you, Peter. There's a question on here regarding some of the features of Apex asked by a number of people, so I'm going to try and put this together as one question for Peter. So thank you, Christoph, and also thank you, Nandini, for your questions. Generally speaking, so the question is about how do Apex 4 flashcharts work on the iPhone, and also what are the limitations of Apex like charts, file uploads, etc. when it comes to mobile development?
Well, you found a big problem over there. Apple and all their devices, they cannot display flash charts unless you jailbreak them, but you wouldn't do that in a business environment. So Apex flash charts, they do not work on the iPhone. So what you can do instead of that, for example, is using some other kind of charts. In my demo application, I used roles Google visualization charts. They render HTML5, I think, and this can be displayed on the iPhone. On other devices like Android and what else is out there, you might have luck and Flash is working. But if you want to be able to have one mobile application for all devices possible, you cannot use Flash. So you have to go for some other kind of solution.
Okay, and just a quick follow-up to this particular question from Nadini is, what about if the application is integrated with Oracle Maps or with Google Maps?
Yes, I don't know if I didn't try Oracle Maps, but Google Maps work on mobile phones. You can use Google Maps on any mobile phone, or at least on iPhone and Android. That's where I tried it. Yeah, so yes for Google Maps, and I don't know for Oracle Maps. It depends if Oracle Maps is using Flash or something else, but I don't know that.
Okay, thanks, Peter. There's also a quick follow-up from Christoph. He would just like you to repeat the name of the Google charts you used.
If you look into the demo application and you go to the charts, just scroll to the bottom. There is a link in the footer bar linking to Rolf's homepage. And oh, well, he's the creator of the Google Visualization Apex Region plugin. I think this is the full title. Again, as the HTML5 plugin, you can find this on apex-plugin.com. Just go there to Region plugin and search for Google Visualization.
Fantastic. Thanks, Peter. Next question from Jürgen. Thank you, Jürgen. Is there a way to suppress the URL section of iPhone when changing the sites?
There is a number of meta tags you can use, especially for iPhones, which can suppress the browser bar and like the URL and the bottom buttons. But this will not work on other mobile devices. So you will have to ask yourself, do you want to create a mobile application just for iPhones? Then you can go the full range on iPhone meta tags. There is a full description in the iPhone developer reference manual at Apple. If you want to be able to service all other mobile devices as well, you won't find the generic solutions because every device works different and basically they all run in a browser. So eventually you will see the address bar at some point.
Thanks, Peter. Bart has just also tried to clarify his question, so I just would like to put this to you again, Peter. So the basic question is how to go beyond the standard RAD functionality so that you would not face being blocked in the development of requirements due to the choice of Apex. As an example, that could be done by extending jQuery mobile as it is just a JavaScript library. Does that make sense, Peter?
Not as much as I would hope for. Basically, if you want to extend Apex, the answer is yes, you can extend Apex very, very good and very easily because Apex is nothing else doing than generating HTML, and there is enough possibilities to influence the created HTML code, so you can include other jQuery or not jQuery, other JavaScript frameworks, or you can enhance the existing jQuery or jQuery mobile. So you can write a jQuery mobile plugin if that's what you're looking for. But you also can use XJS together with Apex or some other kind of JavaScript framework. I hope that makes it easier, or this is the answer you were looking for. If not, you could just send me an email. Maybe we can figure that out later.
Thanks, Peter. As a note from Brad here regarding his question, I think he'd like to sort of explore that a little bit more detail with you, Peter. I'm sure there are a few other guys here that would also like to get in direct contact with you or maybe ask questions. Where do you feel the best way of doing that? Would you like people to email you or maybe actually to write comments to your blog postings?
Well, if you feel this is a general question, please just write a comment on the blog posting. If you think this is more like a question which is not suitable for everyone or is not of interest for everyone, just feel free to drop me an email. If I think it could be worth a blog posting, I will write one afterwards so that everyone is informed.
Thanks, Peter. So there's a couple more questions just to finish up on. So if you do have a question, please could you type it into the question box now. We'll be finishing shortly. So a question from Nandini again. Is the type of Apex installation, does that affect the Apex mobile application?
No, not at all. I'm not sure if you're referring to runtime-only installation of Apex, but it has nothing to do with the application you are writing. If you include, for example, jQuery Mobile in your page template, then it does not depend on any Apex installation type. It will just work.
So thanks, Peter, and thanks again, Nandini, for all your questions. Last question from Robert Lawrence. Is it possible to get an export of your demo application to play around with in a pre-made mobile application?
Yes, this will be possible, but not now. As I told before, I'm trying to enhance it a little more and make it better, and for example figure out the display of validation error messages. So you will have to be patient for a little longer, but it will be for downloads in a couple of weeks latest.
Thanks, Peter. There is another question that's just popped up. How would the Apex tree work in a mobile app?
Honestly, I don't know. But the Apex tree is a JavaScript tree, when I'm right. So it kind of would work, but it would be ugly because how do you want to expand a tree node? So there's just a really tiny symbol, and you will have to point to that symbol to click on it using your finger on a touch screen. So this might not be a really mobile-friendly thing.
Thanks, Peter. Another question has popped up. This is by Bart Peters. Thanks, Bart. What would be the best way to deal with date input fields in a mobile application? So jQuery date picker, HTML5 number input field, or something else?
Well, I've been asking that myself over and over, and the solution I came to was it depends. Basically, it really depends on what kind of date do you want to enter there. If you want to let the user choose, for example, a travel date, this might be in the near future, so you could use some kind of select lists or this selector wheels. If it could be any date, I would maybe let the user enter the date like days in one field, the month in another field, and the year in the third field. But again, it's so dependent on the situation and what would be right from a point of usability. Any possibility could be the right answer, but again, this depends. Yes.
Thanks, Peter. And there's a couple other people who are trying to pick your brains and see if you've got any insider knowledge on when the final release of jQuery Mobile is planned. Is this something that you know?
No, I don't know more than the jQuery guys release on their homepage. At the time of the release of the current beta version, they told that they will release another beta version in like end of July, beginning of August, and then there should be a release candidate of jQuery Mobile in late summer. But as you know from experience, late summer is like can be anything from August to October.
Fantastic. Thanks, Peter. Thank you so much for everybody that answered some questions. If Peter just brings up his contact details, I'm sure there will be some other things that come to you after this session and as you're playing around with the application and trying to make your own Apex mobile application. Please get in touch with Peter. He'll be very happy to answer your questions. So I'd just like to thank Peter again for presenting this topic. I hope everybody found it as useful as I did and enjoyed the session. Thank you again for joining us.
Okay, thanks everyone for watching and listening. I hope it was useful to everyone. And well, if there is any questions, feel free to contact me anytime.
Thanks again, Peter, and have a good day or a good evening, everybody. Thank you.